it was a mental energy kick. It was almost like the neurons in my brain started to fire. What's happening, guys? Hope your day is going well. Mine started off really good. Nice chest and back workout with a little glute training. So I'm resting my ass right now in this seat. Going to do this review for you guys. And this is a limited edition pre-workout, brand new pre-workout on the scene. We got some rain going on in SoCal here. It's supposed to rain for about 4 days. So we got a little ambiance in the background here as the rain's tapping on the car here. So hopefully a little calming effect and relaxing effect for you guys while you watch this video. So if you're new to the channel, we're going to go over the ingredient profile so you guys know what the hell you're putting in your body. And then we're going to go over the effects on this thing, my personal effects. So if you're interested in stuff like that, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Today we're going to review a collaboration pre-workout limited edition by BLACKMARKET Supps and PANDA Supps. Panda, always coming out with limited editions. And this label, oh my God, yeah, look at this label. Look, we're going to admire it here for a second. Let it zoom in. Look at that. This is a bitchin' label. I fancy this label. I'm going to save this tub. I'm going to keep it around for a while because they did a freaking awesome job on this thing. So enough with that. We're going to jump right into the flavoring here. It looks like the sun's breaking through a cloud right now, so that's pretty cool. We got flavoring of Bloody Peach Gummy. And just so you know, I have different levels of flavoring here as far as scaling. I don't do a 1 to 10. Everybody's taste buds different, but there's tolerable, there's good, and there's great. And just so you know, this is teetering on the great flavor scale. They did a really good job. So if you like sipping your pre-workout for whatever reason, like you like to sip it for an hour, walking into the gym sipping your pre-workout, you're gonna be fine with this. The flavor is actually really good. So jumping right into the ingredient profile, which I'll put in front of me, we got a half scoop and a 1 scoop. 1 scoop is 22 grams, and 1 flat level pack scoop is pretty much right on. No scale needed on this thing, which is really, really nice. And it's a 40-20 serving, of course. So it's a lot of these pre-workouts are going that way. So if you half scoop it, you can get 40 servings. If you full scoop it, you're going to get 20 servings. Then we got calories. 1 scoop is 45 calories, and then carbohydrates are less than 1. We got 0 sugars in this thing because you're going to use artificial sweeteners, calcium and sodium, which are going to help with neuron function in the muscles and also going to help with contractions there. Jumping right down into the good stuff, we got L-citrulline malate, 2-to-1 ratio, 10 grams. So that's going to give us about 7 grams of L-citrulline, which is going to help with vasodilation, blood flow, oxygen delivery to the muscles, which is going to help with ATP production, because the more oxygen we can get flowing through our muscles and into the mitochondria and into the bloodstream, the more ATP we're going to fire and we're going to produce. And then also L-citrulline is an ammonia regulator. So it helps buffer ammonia that might build up. It's a metabolite that can build up in the muscles that could lessen our contractional capability. And it does this by recycling ammonia through the process of turning from L-citrulline to arginine, then to ornithine, and then ornithine merges with ammonia and then turns back into L-citrulline. So I don't want to get too detailed on that. I'm writing some articles up on some of these ingredients, so if you guys want to find some details on how these things actually work, I'm starting to put some articles. I have L-tyrosine up there right now, and I have DMHA up there as well. Then we got some malic acid in here, getting back into this. Malic acid, which is going to help in the Krebs cycle, the citric acid cycle of the mitochondria, to help the transfer of ADP into ATP for more energy firing. Then we got beta-alanine at 3.2 grams. This gives you the itching, the scratching, tingling, whatever you might get. This is for more reps and more sets in the gym. This also buffers a metabolite, hydrogen, out of the muscles. So it's going to help with power and endurance through your sets and reps by diminishing the buildup of hydrogen, which can limit the contractional capability and the strength of the muscle itself. Then we have betaine anhydrous at 2.5 grams. This is an osmolyte and a methyl donor. So it helps with cell hydration, which is going to help with power and strength and endurance in the gym. A little bit of pumps, going to add a little bit to the pumps as far as the cell swelling a little bit. And it's going to help on a healthy end. It's going to help with DNA and RNA repair, enzyme development, enzyme repair. It's going to help with vitamin absorption. It's going to help with creatine synthesis as well, your own natural production of creatine. Then we have L-tyrosine at 1 gram. I did write an article on this just recently and put it up on the website at themissiontomuscle.com. So if you want to check that out and how this thing actually really hits and works more detailed than I'm going to give you right now, then go check out that link that I'll put down below. So what L-tyrosine does is it helps with cognitive function, focus, and stressors during stressful situations. So it helps keep the brain active and firing, especially the task switching activity of the brain. So if you're going to run from something, or if you're going to, charge at something, you want to be able to switch tasks during this event that you might be having, a fight or flight response or something. So it keeps dopamine elevated, norepinephrine, and epinephrine, so you're constantly alert and ready to go. So this turns into L-DOPA, and then the carbon's taken away from it, and then it turns into dopamine. And then it's further transferred into L-DOPA is further transferred into norepinephrine, and then another enzyme comes in and takes norepinephrine, turns it into epinephrine. So enough said about that. I can go on for hours on these things, and then some of the stuff probably won't even make any sense to you guys. Then we got alpha GPC at 600 milligrams. This is the dose that's been done in studies for growth hormone release, endurance, and power in the gym. This is an ingredient. It's a choline source that turns into acetylcholine, which helps with cognitive function and focus. This particular ingredient helps with neural firing in the brain. So a very good ingredient. Also is going to help with contraction. So any choline source is going to help with contractions in the gym because we need choline as an energy source, so acetylcholine for muscle firing and energy production and stuff like that. So great ingredient. Then we have organic lion's mane at 500 milligrams. This is a nerve growth factor increaser. So there's a protein in the brain called nerve growth factor, and it stimulates repair and creation of neurons, which boosts cognitive function, focus, and memory. So good ingredient. It's one on the healthier side with the nootropics. Then we got N-acetyl-L-tyrosine, which is just another form of L-tyrosine. We just talked about that, 500 milligrams. And this is just it's supposed to absorb a little quicker. So they probably threw this in here so you get a little faster acting mental focus and cognitive function. Then we have choline bartartrate at 500 milligrams. This is another fast-acting choline source, not necessarily for the brain, but kind of a little energy kick here. So this turns into acetylcholine in the body, but this particular source is different than the alpha GPC and these other sources because this is the way it hits and the way it absorbs in the body. It helps with precision and speed. So it's going to help with energy. So when it crosses the blood-brain barrier and finally gets there, it's also supposed to kind of like help fire up, put a little fire under the neuron firing in the brain, so you get that little pinging effect and you can really think and process really well. Then we got theobromine at 350 milligrams. That's a big dose right there. So I'm doing pretty good on the dosage here. So this is a natural diuretic, and it produces a little bit of energy because of the caffeine and these other stimulants. And it actually has been shown in the brain to increase blood flow in certain regions of the brain, which is a good complement ingredient to other nootropics because it's going to help with processing capabilities and keep oxygen flowing in there in the brain there for the firing, helping along with the longevity of how some of these nootropics hit. Then we have dendrobium extract, and this is 300 milligrams. This is a big dose there. So dendrobium is this is an interesting ingredient because there's hardly no studies, and you're going to read all kinds of different articles online about it. I'm trying to make this as simple as possible, but this has alkaloids and glucosides in it, and the alkaloids are from polysaccharides, and those are the active ingredients there, the polysaccharide alkaloids. And this has been shown with benefits as an antidiuretic and helps with fluid balancing in the body. So it's going to keep your fluid balancing. A lot of people notice they have a little more saliva in their mouth, and then this also helps with toxicity, chemical toxicity through some of the studies that I read, like elevated glutamate in the brain. So it's going to help with those levels and keep them down. So that's how it helps in the brain. It also, I think through 1 or 2 studies in rodents, it showed an increase in nerve growth factor, which is the protein that we just talked about in lion's mane for neuron creation and repair. And it has some benefits for slowing the heart rate and slowing the breathing down. So this was used as a tonic in Chinese medicine. It has some benefits for anti-cancer benefits that I saw. It has some kidney benefits and some liver benefits as well. So a lot of information out there, a lot of it's false because they talk about this thing having a PEA backbone. It does have a stimulatory effect from the studies that I've read, but it in no way have they proven that this has a PEA, this molecule here, or the polysaccharides or anything in here is built around a PEA backbone. So take it with a grain of salt. I've never taken the ingredient by itself, but there's a little rundown as far as everything that I've learned. One of these days, if there's more information that comes up, and I will dial down to all these ingredients, throwing them on themissionofmuscle.com. I'll be writing articles weekly on all these ingredients And this way, you guys, if you want to go and research something, you can go and check it out there. It's just something that I just want to do for everybody. Then we have caffeine anhydrous at 300 milligrams. This is an adenosine blocker, blocks the adenosine receptors, wakens you up so that adenosine doesn't flood in there and make you all tired and sleepy. It also helps with the muscle contractions because it helps with calcium release during training. So that's why you feel like a little more powerful on caffeine. Then we got pink Himalayan salt at 250 milligrams. This has some electrolytes in it. So it's going to help with electrolytes. I did a review on electrolytes. I'm just going to dive into it. I'll put a link up top if you want to go take a look at electrolytes. So it's going to help with endurance, power in the gym, fatigue, and stuff like that. Then we got a rhabdogenesis at 150 milligrams. This is an ingredient that's built on a PA backbone. This influences the TAR1 and TAR2 receptors in the brain, which causes an increase in dopamine, norepinephrine, and epinephrine. This also has the capacity to block certain nerves from the reuptake of these catecholamines. So it keeps them elevated higher in the brain, so it sticks around a little bit longer than like a PEA itself, who comes in like 10-15 minutes and leaves in 10-15 minutes. So this has a half-life, I think, about an hour and a half for cognitive function, focus, and mood. Then we have something called Cafe Alatis, and this is 100 milligrams. So it's basically 100 milligrams of natural caffeine. So you got 400 milligrams of caffeine in this thing. We already talked about what caffeine does. So whether it's natural or whether it's the anhydrous, which is the dehydrated form of caffeine from the coffee bean, they basically have the same function: adenosine blocker, calcium release, and a few other functions too. I'll put a link to another video if you guys want to know about caffeine, where I did reviewed more extensively talking about caffeine. Then we have velvet bean extract at 50 milligrams. So this has L-DOPA in it. So this is another dopamine enhancer. So again, just like L-tyrosine, and this is going to hit, it's either going to hit before or it's going to hit after the L-tyrosine. I'm not sure about the absorption factors, but this is going to give you that dopamine hit to the norepinephrine hit to the epinephrine hit in the brain for cognitive function, focus. And we'll get into how this thing hits. Then we got estrogen at 50 milligrams. This is bringing it all together in a digestive ingredient for all the absorption there. So, looking at this label one more time. Panda versus gorilla. How did it do? So you're going to first take the scoop. Beta-alanine comes in at about 7 minutes and it peaks about 10 minutes in. I mean, it comes in. It's a medium high, but it gets lost. So it only sticks around for like 15, 20 minutes and then it just gets kind of lost to where I'm sure it's still there, but other shit starts happening. Excuse my language. And first thing that I noticed on this thing was not really like an energy kick in physical energy kick. It was a mental energy kick. It was almost like the neurons in my brain started to fire. Like there was an electric surge in my brain around 20 minutes to where you're just like, something's going on up there. and you feel like a little bit awake, a little bit energized in the brain itself. And then as that starts to build, around the 20-minute mark to 30 minutes, the energy, the physical energy starts to build underneath it. And everything pretty much comes together in that 50-minute mark there to where you're left with this high-end energy hit that is a smooth. I consider the energy kick on this thing, it's super smooth, super dialed, no fear of death, no heart racing, nothing like that. And it's like a high-end daily driver hit. It's so smooth. And it lasts for, the energy out of the way. It lasts for a good hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes during your training, and then starts to dial off. And it's about a 4-hour hit, 4.5 hour hit, depending on your stim, resistance and stuff like that after you initially take it. So getting into the focus. So we got that little neuron firing at 20 minutes. It builds up to that, 50 minutes or so, 55 minutes is where it peaks. And this drops into this alpha brainwave hit where it's a combination of a slow processing, not too slow, just normal, relaxed state processing that is not tiredness or sleepiness, but just dialed. It's alpha brain mode, pretty much is what I call it. To where like you're just sitting there and if someone was talking to you, you'd be like, yeah, no, I get it. That pause and shit when you're going on, if you're really in that mode and you just kind of relax, it's like, anyways, alpha brain hit is what this is. And this is not a visual focus hitter. This is a nootropic cognition that is a concentration and memory before the focus. So you're in your head and you're working things out. you're task driven, and you're getting shit done, and you're recalling, and you're thinking, you're processing, very smooth processing. So it's not like this anxious firing in the brain, like a stim junkie type pre-workout or anything like that, which makes this a fantastic sets and reps pre-workout for bodybuilders. So bodybuilding style training where you're doing sets and reps is what I always call it. Sets and reps pre-workout is like if you go in and you do 4 sets of bench press, and then you move over and you do 4 sets of dumbbell flies, and then you do, so forth and so on. And it's not like sometimes I mix things up and supersetting, which you can, but this is really good for a sets and reps type pre-workout, bodybuilding pre-workout here for sure. So to me, this is not a stim junkie. This didn't get me like amped up or anything like that, which it won't. It's all just smooth. Brain hit, everything smooth, nothing scary, nothing that's going to break you at all. It is just in my opinion, this is a high-end daily driver. So if you had taken a pre-workout that's 350 milligrams of caffeine, you're not going to notice a big difference between that and the 400, except a little bit more energy. I mean, compared to like focus ingredients and comparing to pre-workouts, but as far as energy driven, this, you can take this 5 days a week and you have no problem. Pumps on this thing are nothing to brag about, I'll tell you right now, but it delivers a nice tight pump during your training. You get some blood flow in there. You do get a little vasodilation. It's just not this extreme pump formula. So it's not designed to do that. This is supposed to be kind of like a combination of everything, and it's supposed to be a little bit of everything. But the big hit on this thing is the nootropic to me. That's where you feel the most. It lasts for 6 hours. So be prepared. But what I like about this nootropic hit, because I've said it before, I go to work after I train in the morning, so I take the pre's in the morning, and going off to work, I want to be able to function. I talk to people all day, and I want to be able to function, like have a conversation and not feel like sketchy or anything like that. I don't know if you guys can relate to that, but this does not make you sketchy, does not make you can go off and be GQ all day and just talk to people and take your time, and you're not all sketchy. So really, you come down on this thing or off this thing normal, and it's very, very nice. But it does hit. I mean, the cognitive function and focus is there the longest, about 6 hours. So you still feel like you got a hit in the head as far as cognition wise. So I hope that helps. This is Dave. I'm signing off. We're going to show you this label one more time. Panda versus gorilla. It's just bitching. I really like that thing. So if you guys have any questions, you have any comments, go leave it down below. I got to get going to work. We'll see you guys next time on the channel.